Hi guys, and welcome to another video. A question that I get a lot is, if I get an owl, will it be like Hedwig, the snowy owl in Harry Potter? So I wanted to make a video about this because a lot of people get an owl in an impulse because they have watched the Harry Potter movies. Owls have become really popular since then. And I just wanted to go over some things with you guys because not everything you see in the Harry Potter movies is realistic. In fact, most things that concern Hedwig the owl isn't realistic at all. So I'll just name some things that I saw in the movie of which I know that they aren't realistic. I have a list, by the way, so... What? By the way, I only watched the first Harry Potter movie and a part of the second one because I have ADHD, and if something isn't interesting enough for me, I lose interest and my focus pretty fast. So I kind of fell asleep after 40 minutes of the second movie. But here's what I've seen so far. So in the movies, you see Hedwig the snowy owl sitting in a very small cage. Now, in the movies, he doesn't have to sit in the small cage for long periods of time. It's only being used for transport and to put him in there for brief periods of time when he can't be free around the school premises. So it's not necessarily the fact that he's in a cage that bothers me. What bothers me is that the cage isn't suitable for owls, because owls have to have the room to spread their wings. Sometimes they stretch their wings by either like literally stretching a wing. I'll show you some footage of doing that right now. They flap their wings like really hard, but...
Hey.
Hey.
Is toch een schone vrouw, hè? Zijn er echt jaloers?
Owls are big, like Lucky isn't that big of an owl, it's a smaller owl species, but if she stretches her wings, she has a span of 1 meter. So if Hedwig would do that in the small cage he's staying in during transport, he could either break a wing or damage a lot of his feathers. And when owls damage their feathers, it's not the end of the world. I mean, they, like dogs, they shed their feathers from time to time. It's called molting. So the damaged feathers will be replaced by new feathers, but still it's not good for the owl. If you want to transport your owl, then there are special owl transport boxes for that, and I'll show you a picture of that right now. So these kind of boxes keep your owl nice and protected. They can't hurt themselves in those boxes, so yeah, way better than a small cage. Then there's the part where the owls bring the post. Owls cannot be trained to bring letters to people. What can be done, and this is often done at weddings, you can tie a bag, a small bag with wedding rings onto their legs, and just like you would fly your owl outside during flying training, you would fly your owl in the church during the ceremony. So you can let your owl fly with the rings, but not in its beak. It's tied, the rings are tied onto the legs of the owl. You can let your owl fly from a certain point in the church towards the groom or the bride. Yes, you are happy, aren't you? So yes, that can be done, but you can't train your owl to bring a letter to your parents, for example. It doesn't work that way. Then a third scene that isn't realistic at all and gives the people a very distorted image of what it's like to own an owl. And that's the scene where Harry Potter is sitting in front of his window with Hedwig the snowy owl next to him, but Hedwig isn't tied up. He isn't tied up to a perch or anything. In reality, Hedwig would fly away. He would just be like, bitch, I'm gonna explore that shit. I'm gonna fly straight out of your window and, you know, I might come back whenever I want. See ya. You know, like, bye! The truth of the matter is that you can imprint your owl on humans so that it desires human companionship. You can make it as loyal as you want, but it is still an animal with a free will. And if you fly it loose or just put it next to you in front of an open window, it will fly away. Not because it doesn't love you, but just because it's curious and it's like, oh, that looks interesting, I'm just gonna go over there. You agree, don't you? Yes. That's just how that shit works. I'm sorry if you have a romanticized image of an owl always staying with you on your shoulder, then I'm very sorry, but that is unrealistic. So you are warned. Then there is another scene with Harry Potter walking around with his snowy owl on his arm, but he isn't wearing a falconer's glove like this. He's just wearing gloves against the cold, and that is extremely unrealistic. I must admit that the snowy owl in the Harry Potter movies looks smaller than it is in reality, because snowy owls are huge and they are very, very dangerous. They are the hardest owl species to train and the hardest owl species to keep. So if you want an owl, please don't buy a snowy owl if it's your first owl. Hell, please, like, don't even buy an eagle owl. That is way too hard for a beginner. But that's not my point. My point is that Harry Potter isn't wearing a falconer's glove in the Harry Potter movies, and the talons of a snowy owl are huge. And I can put Lucky on my bare arm because she's very gentle and she's imprinted on humans, but she still hurts me from time to time. She doesn't do it voluntarily, I mean, it's not on purpose, but I have a little scratch. I don't know if you can see it. I have a little scratch right there from filming another video today. It's bleeding. I don't know if you can see. Can you see? So yeah, and that's just from Lucky, a tiny bird. Can you imagine a snowy owl doing that on your arm? It is not going to be a tiny scratch, okay? Your arm is going to fall off. Okay, that may be a little over-exaggerated, but a snowy owl can do serious harm to your arm. And the snowy owl in the Harry Potter movies is probably very well imprinted on humans and very gentle. But if it sees something, and all owls do this by the way, if it sees something that's scary like a dog, or suddenly there's a motorcycle passing by, or a cyclist, or I don't know, something scary, then it's going to do this with its talons. And this is just very natural behavior and it's instinctive. So the owl has no other choice than to do this when it sees something scary. And if that snowy owl is sitting on your bare arm or on your shoulder at that moment, you are going to end up with some shattered bones, I promise you. So yeah, that wasn't very realistic. Also, Harry Potter's position isn't correct. You hold an owl like this. Not like Harry Potter does on the picture. I'll just show you the picture right now. If you don't hold your arm in a correct position, then your owl isn't going to find its balance, and it's going to try to find it by moving up and down on the glove and even on your arm. So what's going to happen in Harry Potter's case is that his snowy owl might crawl up all the way onto his shoulder. Like if I do this, my owl will crawl up on my shoulder. The only reason Lucky isn't doing that right now is because I'm holding her laces so that she can't. But I have seen this happen with unexperienced people who are trying to hold an eagle owl at demonstrations. What happens at demonstrations is that falconers put out all of their birds on a field, and if you want, you can have your picture be taken with an owl of your choice. And I've seen it happen that these unexperienced people who want a picture with an eagle owl are holding the glove the wrong way, and the falconers have to intervene immediately because the owl is crawling up on their arm, and that is a really dangerous situation, especially at demonstrations, because at demonstrations there are usually also people with dogs walking around, and eagle owls do not like dogs. So, you know, what will happen if they see a dog is they will tighten their talons, and that is not a safe situation for the people who are trying to get their picture taken. Now, one very realistic scene in the Harry Potter movies is the scene where Hedwig the snowy owl is in his cage and he's picking the lock of his cage. And Harry is telling his parents, please, please, can't I let Hedwig out of his cage because he's really bored? Can't I please just go do something with him? And this is a very realistic scene. Owls are very lazy, so the fact that they have to sit in a big aviary or on a perch all day isn't that bad, but owls do like to be entertained, and if you don't do enough stuff with them, they will get bored and they can get depressed. So don't just only fly your owl every day, make sure you also go on walks a few times a week. Make sure to watch TV with your owl on a regular basis, cuddle with it, and then it will be entertained. It won't be bored. Okay guys, that was it for this video. I hope that you liked this topic. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in one of my next videos. Have a nice day!